We thought we'd seen and heard just about everything, but what we found there surprised even our own Chris Hansen. A reminder, some of what you'll see is explicit.
And trolling the internet for
oral first. I love oral.
Want to meet up, baby?
So have you ever been
touching your legs, your breasts, slowly?
I'd tear your little
I wish you was here to play with my
Hon, would you like to take me in your mouth?
Okay, FirstAndGrand is coming for a boy.
Wow.
In the meantime, we're expecting another visitor. Not here at the house, but at the nearby beach. He's 32-year-old Lance Fine. Fine works as a waiter at the Hard Rock Cafe in Orlando. Online, Fine uses the screen name FirstAndGrand to speak to a decoy named Scott, who told him he's a 14-year-old boy. Early in the chat, Fine asks,
"Do you like older guys?"
"Yeah, I like people that are nice."
The decoy reminds Fine they've talked before in a gay men's chat room. During this chat, Fine doesn't waste any time, vividly detailing his sexual fantasies.
"I'd so love to get beaten up by you and be your toilet."
"Well, I can't do that over the internet."
Fine says he'll bring alcohol and describes graphically how he wants the teen to have sex with him. But he also suspects that Scott might not be a real teen.
"But this could be a trap, and I could go to jail."
"Nah."
Well, the thought did cross my mind, but damn, you're pretty.
Dang.
Fine gives Scott his cell phone number and asks him to call. The actor we hired makes the call.
I can meet you at the beach across the street.
Fine agrees to meet the teen at the beach, so we deploy our 19-year-old male actor on the boardwalk across the street from our undercover house. Soon, Fine shows up, parks down the beach, and starts walking towards the decoy.
"Are you Lance?" "Hey, I'm Derek." "It's Derek. Are you Lance?" "No?" "Okay."
But Fine clearly suspects something and begins to head back towards his car.
He's walking back towards the other pier. He's not answering my call.
So I decide to head him off and try to speak with him.
What's going on?
Just out riding around.
Hey, is that you right there?
That is me.
So then you would be the one who had this chat online then?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Can I lick your Sure, if you want to lick it clean.
Jeez.
And how old is the boy that you came to see today?
I don't know what you're talking about.
14, male, flagler.
Must have been somebody on my computer.
Must have been somebody on your computer, huh? So somebody was on your computer who made plans to meet right down here, and magically you showed up.
Well done.
Well, I'm not going to say anything.
I want to lay on my back with a pillow and let you sit on my chest with your knees over my forearms and punch me repeatedly.
Dang.
That's funny.
That's funny, huh?
Yeah.
What's your screen name, Lance?
I have a few
You have
on
a
my
few.
account.
Is one of them FirstAndGrand?
Yes, that
Okay.
is the primary one.
Okay.
I don't know what you want me to say here.
Well, I'm Chris Hansen with Dateline NBC. We're doing a story on adults who try to meet kids online for sex.
I've never done anything like that.
You've never done anything. You didn't do this here today.
No.
You didn't have this chat.
No, sir.
Then the potential predator's phone begins to buzz. It's the decoy calling to verify that it's the same person he spoke with earlier.
Did you want to answer your phone?
Was it ringing?
Yeah.
I'll just turn it off until we're done talking.
You know who just called you?
Could have been my mother for all I know.
Now, I can tell you exactly who it was. It was my crew who called you because they had the cell phone number that you gave the boy in the chat.
What's the police officer doing here?
That is a good question.
Get on the ground now! There you go.
You have the right to remain silent.
After he's read his rights, Fine decides not to speak without a lawyer present.
Okay.
So wait for an attorney, please.
Okay.
Police find a bottle of Crown Royal and marijuana in his car.
Outstanding.
He's charged with 3 felonies, including possession of a controlled substance and attempting a lewd act upon a minor. Fine later pleaded not guilty. The Hard Rock Cafe told us Fine no longer works there.
Hey, everybody, an old man's talking.
One of the truly interesting things about doing this podcast is that it allows me to go back and review cases that maybe didn't stick out to me at the time, but are very important and very interesting because of the details. For instance, in Flagler Beach in December of 2006, a fellow named Lance Fine surfaced in our investigation, 35 years old. And I had sort of forgotten about Lance, to be honest with you. And that's understandable, I suppose, given the fact that I've dealt with 400 or so of these guys over the years. But when I started to research for this particular episode, it all came back to me and why his case was so outrageous. And then to learn what's happened since then truly made it a fascinating story. And so it is that Lance Fine, who went by the name FirstAndGrand online, is going to be the focus of this episode. Lance had lived in Tennessee, Jefferson County, near Knoxville, most of his life. And he came to Florida, Orlando specifically, 9 days before we met at our sting house, or actually across the street from our sting house in Flagler Beach, Florida. 9 days. And later he would tell a police detective that he left Tennessee because it was kind of boring. Well, as it turns out, Flagler Beach, Florida in general, was not so boring. So Lance is online chatting, and he comes across a profile of a young man who's 14. The 14-year-old goes by the name Derek M. 12292. That's a screen name. And the chat gets pretty graphic pretty quickly. Derek makes it clear right off the bat that he's 14. For some reason, FirstAndGrand, a.k.a. Lance Fine, says that he's 32 instead of 35. Now, this is a pattern. I've talked about it before. Derek, posing as the 14-year-old, posts a video which Lance sees. Now, Lance, I should tell you, goes by the name of Scott in this conversation, and that'll become important later because it makes him very hinky at the point of contact with the on-site decoy, but more on that in a moment. The chat starts off like many do. What's up? Not much. DL says he's 14 and from Flagler. You? 32, male, Orlando. Cool. KEWL. What do you like to do? Says Lance. I like chilling with friends, hanging out, playing Xbox, soccer, lacrosse. I saw your video. You're really cute. You look older than 14. Well, I'm almost 15, he says. LOL, thanks. Now I'm embarrassed because that movie is horrible. This is the decoy talking about the video he posted. But I got an A on it. I'm sure you did, says Lance. When do you turn 15? Like that's going to make a big difference. January. Capricorn? I used to live in Ormond Beach, says Lance. Aquarius. Oh, cool. And the chat is continuing, and he says, so may I ask you a personal question? Sure, why not? Are you into guys? Yeah, you? Yes. Do you like older guys? This is the grooming process right here. Yeah, I like people that are nice. Nice to you? That's not hard to do, says Lance. And then he goes on to ask if the boy's parents know that he's into guys. They don't know, he says. That Lance says, I can keep a secret. Can you? Now, this is part of the process of grooming somebody who's absolutely, positively underage by someone who knows they can get into trouble for doing this. Now, you should also know that these two have been in contact before. Lance, the 35-year-old, has already had a chat with Derek in another gay chat room. He doesn't seem to remember it at this point, though. He goes on. So give me an example of how guys are nice. He dodges that question, the decoy does, and says he's got to run and do something for his father. They take a break and come back. Lance says, what's up, hot stuff? Sup, hottie? Just home for a minute on break. Will you be online late tonight? I'm at work. We'll be back later. Hey, says Lance, what's up? Not much, says Derek, and they get back into the conversation. He says he's home from work. It was very slow. Now, at this point, Lance, the 35-year-old, is a waiter for the Hard Rock Cafe in Orlando. And he is willing to travel more than an hour from where he lives with a female friend of his who he's known for about 13 years to go visit the 14-year-old boy. And it doesn't take long in this conversation for him to become very, very graphic about what he wants to do with this boy. He says that he's met other people online for sex, but nobody younger than 17. This is just what he says in the conversation with the decoy from Perverted Justice. And they talk about getting together, about how much Lance likes the picture of the boy. And then he starts in, I can't wait to see you. And he takes a break. He said, sorry, I had to stroke it for a minute, meaning he had to masturbate because he thought the picture was so hot. And then he gets into something that's kind of rare in the Predator investigations. He says, I'd so love to be beaten up by you. Beaten up. And be your toilet. And then he asks, are you dad-free this weekend? Meaning, is your dad gone? The boy, the decoy from Perverted Justice, has told Lance that he lives with his father, but his father sometimes leaves for Fort Lauderdale to go be with his girlfriend. He says, yes, I'm free this weekend. He says he can bring some Crown Royal. And then he starts to get suspicious. But this could be a trap, or we could get caught, etc. Decoy says, a trap? And I could go to jail, says Lance. Derek the decoy, nah. Well, the thought did cross my mind, says Lance. But damn, you're pretty. And who knows what else Lance had done up to this point, either in Tennessee or in Florida. But this is typical of somebody who sees an opportunity, and his drive to have this sexual encounter, fulfill this fantasy of being a human toilet, getting beat up, is so strong that when he sees the opportunity, he puts aside any concerns about it being a sting operation or a police operation. And he can't control his urges. And he shows up. And that's ultimately what Lance would do. Then Derek says, you ain't my dad setting me up, are you? So he's playing back into that fear, trying to allay it. Then the decoy indicates that, if he gets enough Crown Royal at him, gets drinking, he'll be up for just about anything. Lance says, that's what I'm hoping for. Decoy says, I get kind of crazy. Did you still want me to do you? Lance says, fuck me? Yeah, if you want to. Heck yeah, bro, says the decoy. Maybe you can punch me while you're fucking me.